Thank you very much to to Amos and Charles. I think your stories combined with what we've heard all evening brings us to this point, which is to reflect on the question, what's needed to empower the diaspora to innovate and grow our potential in the area of education. And since we've seemed to have come to a place of looking at education as synonymous with development, what do you think about that question? What's needed? What would take, for those of you who are doing this work, what would take your work to the next level? I know we love to look at CEDA and say, could you please, deal with this? But I think we need to talk to CEDA, but we also need to look at what is it that would create the environment for the creativity, for the innovation, for the work that diaspora is driving. What would take your work to the next level? So what are your thoughts on that? And let's hear from as many of you as possible. Yes.
Hi, thank you.
And very briefly, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure, I'll try. Yeah, we're talking about CEDA, many times in development we focus on NGOs, multilaterals, donors, organizations such as CEDA, etc. So I work in community, but I work with the private sector. The private sector is doing great work also in development, and I haven't really heard too much from the private sector. So I think that diaspora also needs to look at what the private sector and connect with private sector. For example, I am looking for experiences to share in Guinea. That's where I'm working. And for example, the people again from Education with Borders, they said that they transferred the so-called technology they had here with the First Nations. They transferred that to South Africa. This is something that we can transfer things from Canada to other countries. They need to approach also private sector companies because we also need some help. That's my comment.
Okay,
thank you.
That's a great point. And over here, Jean.
Yes, myself, I think...
Could you put your mic on?
Okay,
thanks.
Yeah. I think to that question, I can divide it into 3 pieces. Mm-hmm. One, what needed? We need political will. That's number one. CEDA is the organization which is responding what the politics want to be done or want to be achieved. And how does it happen? If you bring Fierira here, who said education is a freedom or education is somehow is a system of oppression, how that will be applied to the political will? If we bring that situation to our country, Canada, is it the country of Canada, how our country looking diaspora? Diaspora has 2 pieces. There are one group of people who are accepted to their own country, and there another group are enemy of their own country. So that's another question. And then, how you look like a young woman like Jocelyn come to this country with a full of hope and is preaching that I got my freedom. And for over 15 years, I saw young people like Jocelyn. Where is those people? Actually, I can stop here.
Okay, thank you very much. Charles. So what is needed to empower, to support diaspora?
Thank you very much. I'm Charles Pearson. I just finished my course for civic engagement and dialogue program from SFU here. And I'm the executive director for Canada Relief Services Society. Thank you, Jonathan, again for giving this opportunity. It is very hard. We are not looking at really how can we help Africa. For me, I think what we are talking here is not really creating an impact, but there's a say that charity starts from home. I'm in a multi-advisory committee of a U.S. minister, and we deal with situations that are arising every day. And working as in a settlement field, we have a problem here, like for African perspective. What can we do first for the children? For example, I'm talking on African perspective or a Southern Sudanese. How can we help the children here to get education so that they can change back in Africa. How can we get, we are talking about resources, about how to get education to development in Africa, but I look is we are not trying to address the limitations because we face the problem of limitation. That's why I think Amos was talking about CEDA. CEDA, the president was in my country in South Sudan, and I was watching the satellite, and she was saying, the people were saying, you know how to do the job, and you know how this to impact the people on maternity thing in my country. But if CEDA supposed to use the Southern Sudanese here in Canada to go and implement the projects there in Southern Sudan, don't you think it can create an impact? Then taking somebody who doesn't know the language and just post him in South Sudan in a city and just go in town, what impact will it create? So we need to look how it really creates an impact. Like Amos said, if I now I'm starting a school in my village, and that school, if there's no good environment, my friend Henry said this to us here when we are discussing that, if there's no good environment, then the education system will not work. And he said, someone said there that the community need to be involved. But assuming those communities have no representative in their country, I mean in Canada or in somewhere in diaspora, how are those communities being raised, how their education levels can be raised? Because if I take from here to Juba or Kampala or Kenya or Nairobi, I'm duplicating because there are some resources being put by the government, but how can we reach to rural areas that has no access to education? And for me, I just, we need you to help us, volunteers, so that guide us, give us training, give us skills. We can change those people.
Thank you, Charles. Yeah, that's great. I think there was someone, sir, right here. I saw your hand go up. And over to Nazar afterwards, and then I'll come back to
you. My name is Habibul Akbar Habib. I'm from Afghanistan, and I want to tell you my personal story. It's short, but it's short from 90 years back. Our king, Amanullah, he decided to invite people from all around the world to come and pick one school in Kabul and support them, by teaching material and also by teachers. And they came there and picked, like Germany picked my school, which was Amani, and then American came and picked another school, Russian picked another school, France picked another school, and India and Turkey also, they came and picked one school. And everybody was happy, and we studied. And when you are in the school and you have a teacher, like a German teacher, of course, you will become pro-German after a few years. And like the same thing for American school and for the Turkish school. And then what happened when the Russian invaded Afghanistan? I was in university and then just finished the school. And then the Russian, what they did, they were after the people who were educated in the German or the Western school. And they caught lots of them and killed. And then after a while, and what happened, I just heard from one of the lady there about education. Formal education means identification. And then what happened, we had to hide our ID because of fear. And then what happened when the Taliban came and then American invaded Afghanistan, what happened right now is all the Russian, on that time, Russian people who educated in the Russian school, they were the employers. And now, and they were just hate all these Western educated people. And then what happened right now, what's happening right now, now the American educated people, they are on power, and then they are against the Russian.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of what do you think the diaspora here would benefit from? So just briefly, because we're...
Yeah, what I think it was like this diaspora, it was some kind of idea 90 years back. Mm-hmm. And then what happened, all the time was good, but when the Russian invaded, everything changed. Mm-hmm. I think it is fair if the people like from Canada go there, and then like CEDA is supporting people there by the name of Canadian government. Mm-hmm. Then it would be, maybe later it will bring something negative.
Oh, negative, yeah. Oh, okay. So there's the risk of that affiliation.
This is something,
that concerns you. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. It's a very big question that we're asking here, and there's a lot of history and context that makes it more complex even. So, Nazra, I think we're going to give you the last word to reflect on what is needed to enable the diaspora to do what is needed.
Yeah, just building off your answer there, sorry, I missed your name in the beginning. I think the key thing is sustainable partnerships with existing organizations. I think that's important because people are already doing the work out there, but it's really finding those people and connecting to those people and really building, and that's a sense of community in its own. I think the other thing is a form of, like, I think that there's 5 different things that we really should focus on, which are forms of education in its own way. Hands-on learning, mentorship, exchanging skills and knowledge, and ownership in creating and sharing stories. I think that those are all key learning in its own, and that's a form of education that should be enhanced in the communities and really the dialects that need to be said. I think that the most important thing for young people who are going back to their communities and doing work and supporting those communities is really recognizing the work they're doing, and that's kind of what we're doing here tonight. In that sense, supporting them and really saying that the work they're doing is valuable, and that grows young people to really push other young people to actually keep doing the work they're doing and really inspire other young people to do the same. So,
great, thank you.